bullshit we start out with. I guess I could do an intro, but we don't need to do an intro. So
I didn't do it.
so when last we left off, y'all had been you had just left the forest, or so you entered the forest. Y'all had just left the town, and were going on a wee little adventure. So I believe that we're all going out in search of the person who I closed that window. The person whose name is Duyin?
Doing.
Duyin?
Yes.
I know my character's name, so you were all looking for
Amazing.
Duyin. This is the problem with just making character names randomly. Is that it's like, okay, who is this
There's
now?
no attachment. Yeah.
I'm the DM. I don't have to be attached to any of these people. Any of these people can live or die. I don't give a shit.
I'm just saying memory.
Why is
it works.
why is everyone I know a talented artist? Fuck all of you. Okay.
Nice.
So that looks
I'm
unacceptably
just
good.
tracing.
It looks unacceptably good. All right.
I'll have you know. That's really nice. I'll have you know, Ark, that I do not do the art. I'm not of the art.
But you're basically like a DJ, so that's fine. You close enough.
You just outsource your art, get other people to do art for you.
Excuse me.
If I'm lucky.
I have to outsource my art, and then I own it because copyright law is awesome. Okay. Anyway, so y'all had just left. You were going out to go find Duyin, and as you left the place, I believe that Rhea had noticed something about the place that you were leaving. Do you have that written down? What you noticed?
Honestly, it was just the barrier thing, right? That was very interesting. Was suspicious.
Yes. Yes. So I believe that what you noticed was that the barrier keeps out animals, like beasts, aberrations, whatever, right? Like it keeps out non-sapient creatures specifically. But strangely enough, as you exited the barrier, you realized, which is something that you've noticed on several occasions, and it just is like an idle curiosity of yours, that despite the fact that plants shouldn't actually be affected by the barriers at all, like plants grow within the barriers, the edge of the forest is perfectly aligned with the edge of the barrier, right? Like there's just this gap in the forest that's where your town is. The town that's called Thurlin Point. Hey, well, it's clearly
And
near.
this noticing that was done, was this noticing done publicly? Is that if we heard this noticing?
No comment.
Had-
Okay, so as you all are leaving the forest, what would you like to do? Where are you going to try to like follow the general path that that Duyan typically follows, or what are you looking for specifically?
Yeah, can we go to like last known spots? Like this last known like hiding like hunting spots? Like I should be pretty knowledgeable about where he tends to go, right? So we'll go
Are we?
backtrack, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Are we near some trees right now?
yeah, you're entering the forest.
So I mean, idle curiosity, because let's just say that that my character hasn't really been into the trees, and they find it somewhat curious.
Absolutely. The lot of you have probably never been in a forest, except for
So me being the curious person that I am,
Mhm.
I'm gonna cast Identify on a tree. It's a touch spell.
You're gonna okay. I need to look at what Identify does. And does a tree?
Choose
Looking
one
at that.
object that you must touch throughout the casting of the spell. If it's a magic item or some other magic imbued object, you learn its properties and how to use them, whether it requires attunement to use, and how many charges it has. If any, you learn whether any spells affecting the item. You learn whether any spells are affecting the item or and what they are. If the item is created by a spell, you learn which spell created it. If you instead touch the creature throughout the casting, you learn what spells, if any, are currently affecting it.
Okay, so you're casting Identify on a tree.
Yep.
And a tree is somewhere in between a creature and an object. So that's right. Like,
I mean, I exist to give
Yeah.
you hard things to figure out.
Okay, so give me a second to look at the details on Identify so I can figure out. Go ahead and give me an Arcana check for me. And I'll tell you the amount of information that you are going to get off of this. Let's see. Okay. Is that? Did you already roll? And I just can't see it because I'm not on the right screen. It's a 13.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think with a 13 Arcana, let's see, on a random tree. So as you touch this tree and cast Identify, which is a totally normal thing that normal human beings would do, the why not, right? At first you feel like basically like nothing, like there's no magic inherent to a tree, right? But as you are casting this spell and sort of like channeling your arcane energies, you do feel almost like a permeating magic. Like it's not necessarily tied to the tree, but it's kind of affecting the tree. If that makes any sense. Like the tree isn't the target, but it's kind of in the area of effect, if that makes any sense.
So there's some kind of a area of effect, like, you know, in the area.
That's the impression.
Vaguely.
That's the impression that you get, is that there's some sort of magical effect going on. There's something vaguely magical, but it's not clear what the source is, and it doesn't seem to be directly targeting this tree or even like the trees as a collective. But it does seem to be tied to something in the area. What's that?
Is Ark going to Peter's room?
Yes, obviously that's
Why
what's
do I keep
happening.
hiding my dice?
Why is everyone going to Peter's room?
The one thing that I need is my
Wanna go to
dice.
Peter's room?
No, because I do not have wireless.
Mommy has a teleportation device. He's actually getting murdered in the other room before reanimating in the closet.
If we only had, you know, portals we could, you know, connect with and, you know.
Mom would never get into a portal. You know what Mom says. If you go to a
That's
portal,
fine.
you're
You can host, you can host the sessions, but we could actually meet in person.
then all the selves would have to die and get basically re-put together out of matter on the other side. I'm not sure if I feel like killing myself.
That's not like, it's not technological teleportation. If it's a portal where you're literally stepping between, like you're actually transporting the matter of you, not reconstructing it like teleportation would, then that's completely fair game.
Anyway,
I'm not sure what's going on over here.
Oh, we're talking about your aversion to teleportation, apparently.
Holding bodies versus
And I'm just saying,
reconstituting body parts.
yeah, like I was saying, as long as it's an actual portal that transports your whole person, as opposed to reconstituting it on the other end, then that sounds fair game, right?
Yeah, like wormhole as opposed to sending data.
Yeah. See?
I'm not sure. Can you imagine you're going in a wormhole, but you're like living a lifetime, but like in 1 second you don't remember it, but it's like an excruciating time. I don't know,
I think
man.
this is assuming that we've dealt with the time dilation problem.
Uh-huh. Right.
Hey, Pete, your mom has a time dilation problem. because big mass causes time dilation, and I know physics, so I made a your mom joke.
Okay.
Your mama's so fat, you're in orbit of her like gravitational field.
So,
But I used time dilation. Sorry, mommy.
okay. So, Rhea, I'd like for you to make a survival check. You do have advantage because this is your favorite terrain to try and sort of follow the pathway of this person. Anyone else? Do you have anything that you want to be doing, like sort of like on a sideline? I assume that people are pretty much following where Rhea is leading to the person. But if you want to make survival checks to know anything about the terrain or have any questions,
Can I do history? Can I do history? Or wait, I have perception.
you could do
And then
either of those.
With the done.
Can I do both?
I mean, yeah, it's two different things. It's to get two different pieces of information, yes, not to get the same piece of information.
Wait, no. Like, is there
You
a
said 18?
turn based?
18, yeah. With the
Okay.
done.
How many actions like do I get?
At one time, until we resolve things, one, and then, we'll resolve that, and then you can choose what you're going to do after that. You have plenty of time, like, you're not in combat or anything. It's just a matter of, like, what you're doing with your time. So we have an 18, which means that you're going to be able to reasonably easily follow the path. Did you want to make a history check to learn more about, like, the history of this area?
Yes, I do history roll. Well, no, history, I don't know, like, history for whatever looks historical in the place that I'm seeing visually.
I mean, trees are pretty old.
Your mom's pretty old. My mom's pretty old.
Both accurate.
Yes, let's do that.
So, how do I get to...
It's an 18.
Nice.
Do I have to view... Oh, I have to view the campaign. And then, how do I get my dice? There they are.
Did I miss
Okay,
anything?
they're on the sideline. Rhea just rolled a survival check for the... Did you use advantage for that, Rhea?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Oh, there we go. I see it now. Okay, and let's see here. And so we have also an 18 for history. Okay, so I'll resolve the survival check later because this is like trying to follow the pathway to where you're going. For the history check, so this isn't really like a named forest in the classic sense. It's just forest that is nearby one of these sort of settlements that are created around the Thurlin. The town has been here for probably maybe 100 years, something along those lines. It's a relatively recent acquisition, so to speak. The forest here is particularly dangerous, right? Like, there were a lot of people who died making the roads to here. Like, this place was not safe. And, there's... Construction crews don't get the same kind of protection that merchant caravans do when the things are finished. So there was a lot of casualties in the creation of the roads coming through this forest. And there's all sorts of tales of, like, giant monsters and, other horrific things in here. More so than probably most places that you've been to. This is considered to be a relatively dangerous location. Just generally. Like, most places aren't as rigid and strict about people staying inside the barrier, because you can usually go outside the barrier and it's like, okay, you're probably fine. It's dangerous. You definitely wouldn't let children out. But, like, people will go out and sometimes they die and sometimes they don't. This place is more like, this is Jurassic Park. Maybe don't. Maybe don't leave the visitor center. With regards to... So that's the 18 history that I will give you. For the 18 survival, you are able to reasonably sort of quickly follow the tracks of Duyin, the hunter who has gone missing. They came out here a while back, and, like, nothing seems unusual out here about, like, the general nature of everything seems like, okay, yes, like, there's no signs in the tracks of, like, running away from anything or anything along those lines. It seems like a pretty standard, like, the same tracks have been worn in every day for the last, 10 years or whatever. And nothing so far seems too unusual. What are you looking for with this nature check that you just made, Knob?
Well, since the identify said there's something a little bit fishy going on, I just figured I use my nature to just kind of have a second look at sort of like the trees and like the stuff around here, just to kind of see if anything feels out of place.
All right, so you're just gonna like carefully like examine stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing that I did forget to mention, Artica, as you leave the barrier, your headache pretty much over the course of the next 5 minutes, gone, right? Like, sweet relief. I'm no longer in the barrier. I can get out of the fucking headache zone. It's like first time in a very long time that you haven't had any degree of headache. No migraines, not even like the pre-migraine. Like, you know how you'll get the pre-migraine where it's like, my head doesn't hurt, but I know that if I focus on anything too long, my head is going to hurt very badly, very quickly, and there's nothing I can do about it. That kind of a thing. None of that. You're feeling good. So in terms of the immediate area that's surrounding you, as you're sort of looking at things like very closely, the everything seems like pretty much what you would expect from a forest. Things are pretty much like normal. There's like at one point there's like this sort of like as you're like going into the like deeper stuff to just like look more closely at like some leaf or something, you basically like interrupt some like fantasy squirrel, just like some small little rodent that was just hanging out underneath a tree, thinking they're not going to come here. Then you went there and it like runs off. And when it runs off, I would like you. I don't think you need to make a perception check for this. When it runs off, it is a little disorienting because you get like this weird double vision as it's running off, where it's like it feels really weird as you're watching it because it's like this sudden movement out of the corner of your eye almost happens like twice. It's like your eyes are disagreeing on what they're seeing, and they both seem to be seeing the same thing. It's just almost like a lag, right? Where it's like, like your brain just doesn't quite look at it correctly, where it's like, that feels awkward. It just like doesn't hurt you don't get like a headache or anything, but it's like a similar type of sensation where you're just like, ugh, that was something I shouldn't have looked at. Almost. Okay. It almost makes you nauseous as you're.
Can I do a perception check?
What are you doing a perception check for?
On the stupid squirrel to see what the fuck is.
Yeah,
why am I nauseous?
You can no, not you. That was Peter. Peter saw the squirrel running off and felt nauseous with.
But then why'd you say Arthi? What?
Arthi, you don't have a headache anymore.
Oh, I thought the squirrel was for me.
No, the squirrel is the nature check. The squirrel's for the nature check.
Whatever.
So, if you want to make a perception check to see if you notice the squirrel and if there's anything interesting about it for you, that's fine.
And I shit rolled my investigation, so I doubt I get to find out anything more about what just happened.
You didn't even hear the squirrel, Artica. Like you didn't even notice that there was any sort of as far as you're concerned, there's no animals in this forest at all. I would actually like all of you to quickly make a perception check as you start approaching the area where like the first set of like traps and like sort of like the first kill zone, so to speak, is for the hunting folks. Let's see here. We have a lot of very good rolls.
Why is it
so slow?
Yeah,
don't
so
know.
slow for you.
Why is mine so slow? I need a new computer.
It's because of that. It's because of that -1 modifier. That's what it is. That penalty on your perception check. So we've got a
Reflection is hard.
16, 21, 17, and 13. All right. So all of you definitely hear the sort of like this sort of like deep bass sort of rumbling in the distance. And everyone who rolled over a 15, you can tell that this is like the guttural utterances of a very large creature. Like something that probably like it's big. It's the kind of thing where like Rhea, you've been in this forest before. You've heard this sound before. You've definitely heard this specific sound before. You've never seen the creature that makes this sound because you explicitly avoid going near where whatever the fuck this thing is making this noise, right? And it's not like directly in your path to where you're going or anything, but you can kind of like hear it out in the woods somewhere. And you know everyone hears it, but like those who got over 15, you can tell this is some critter, right? A really big thing that sounds like a predator, right? Like that. It doesn't sound like, you know, a big cow.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just a thing that you all hear. It's in the distance somewhere. You don't need to worry too much about it. It's no big deal. No biggie.
Do I see anything strange going on with the traps or whatever, or like aliens tracks?
Let's see.
Anything interesting?
Go ahead and give me, and anyone who wants to do this can do this for me. Give me either, you can probably give me a survival check or like an investigation check. Anything along those lines. Everyone can just pop over to me as you're trying to figure out what's going on with this sort of kill zone here. And did you give yourself the advantage for that, Rhea?
Nope.
Because you get advantage on so much shit when you're in this forest. It's ridiculous because your favorite terrain is really important. That's awesome that you got the exact same roll twice. Let's see here.
13.
All right, so everything here looks reasonably normal to all of you. Give me a second to make a roll here. Artica, with your 18 investigation, as you're sort of like looking around, you notice that like first of all, this doesn't seem like it's a terribly efficient camp. Like the person who set this up probably set it up a very long time ago, and the person who's been maintaining it might not even be the same person who set it up. If that makes any sense. Like it looks kind of like someone had a decent system at some point here, and then someone has come in who doesn't really care and has not been maintaining it as well as they probably should. As you're sort of like as you're noticing this, you start feeling like a little bit of like vertigo. Like you start feeling a bit like almost like motion sick as you're sort of like meandering through this terrain, right? Like as you're like looking around at all this stuff and you're trying to focus your eyes on things, you have a very difficult time focusing, and you just kind of feel like kind of queasy, like okay, well, I've been in a car and this is not a great situation to be in, and yeah, I'd actually like for you all to make one more quick perception check for me. All right, so as you're sort of investigating this space, you're sort of like hanging out, trying to figure out what's going on here. It's like, okay, well, this is like clearly some shit work. There doesn't seem to be anything that out of the ordinary. But Artica and Rhea, you both notice in sort of like the distance, right? A reasonably large, like maybe like a little bigger than a human, probably smaller than Artica, but not by a lot. Just sort of like figure, just in completely encased in shadow, just sort of like in the distance observing all of you. Well, you assume it's observing. You don't see any eyes or anything, so you don't really know what it's doing. But it vaguely looks like...
Can I do an investigation check?
Investigation is more like long term.
Perception check.
You just did a perception check. This is what you get with your perception
Can I do
check.
an intimidation check?
Well, you can certainly talk to it if you wanted. You can try to intimidate it with whatever you're saying.
Oh my god, never mind.
So, what does this intimidate look like as you roll a nat 1 with your intimidate check? What do you say that is meant to be intimidating but ends up being anything but intimidating? What are you... So you're just sort of like pointing at your eyes and then pointing it at it. And as you're doing this, putting the fingers in front of your face is not... It's nauseating, right? Because you've got this... You've already started to feel nauseous. You put your fingers in front of your face and then move them quickly back and forth. And you start getting like double vision. And you kind of like keel over like a little bit like not quite vomiting, but almost vomiting from this incredibly impressive intimidation maneuver that you do. What else would people like to do as this thing is becoming visible? And would you like to inform the others that...
Yes, I'm pointing it out. I'm like pointing at him and I'm like, you guys see that? Essentially.
You can all see it once it's been pointed out. It's just that it's been kind of like in the shadows and it's shadowy. So, what would you all like to do in the face of this thing that seems to, for now, just be sort of standing there observing, or not? It might even not be facing you. It's not entirely clear what direction it's facing. It looks like it's either facing toward you or away from you. One of the two. But again, just based off of the silhouette, right? The back and the front look very similar, but the side does not look similar to the front or the back.
Is it shiny?
It is the opposite of shiny. It is shadowy. It kind of like it kind of like absorbs light. It's almost like the negative imprint of a person more so than like an actual... Like, if you took a space in the world and emptied it of a human-shaped vessel, that's what it would look like.
Ulu looks horrified.
I would imagine.
I tried to rack my brain for, anything that I might remember from the history of this place that may relate to it.
Okay. With a 17, you think... This looks very undead to you. This looks like rave, shade, nasty unpleasantness. You have thoughts of cold damage and fucking like whatchamacallit? Like level drain. All that nastiness immediately like flashes into your head with a 17. Arca, are you trying that history check for the same thing?
Yep.
As you're looking and you're thinking about like those kinds of creatures, it looks pretty much like those things, but you don't think it's quite right. It's not actually those things. It's something that looks somewhat akin to them, but it's not. It looks like them, but there's something wrong there. It's not. That's probably not what it is.
So I'm just kind of going like, hey guys, whatever that is, it seems really... Let's just be careful.
I ready my bow.
And I'm like, I'm not sure your bow would necessarily do us much good against that thing if it is what I think it might be.
Yeah, and your history check would be sufficient to know that the kinds of incorporeal undead that we're talking about here, they would have resistance or potentially outright immunity to non-magical weaponry. And that maybe there's some like special materials that a weapon could be made out of that would bypass that, but it would depend on what specifically it was.
What do you say we do?
And also, I'm kind of feeling like shit, so you're all also feeling weird because something is very strange going on. Like, something's affecting us all. It looks like, because I mean, I just saw the weird crystal dragon.
Would you like me to sing you a song?
I just saw the dragon kind of.
I can sing a song. It'll make everything better.
Okay.
We weep quietly in a corner as you attempt to perform.
I'm trying to lift everyone's spirits.
In the ball.
As you start doing your performance, which not the best performance you've ever done, but certainly better than the average performance by a person who isn't actually good at this, right? The thing that you witness begins to approach you all. And now I would like
that.
for you all to roll initiative for me.
Initiative?
Yep. I would like y'all to guess what I rolled for initiative.
20.
Try the opposite of 20. Yeah, that was a nat 1.
Huh?
I rolled a nat 1.
We actually have multiple nat 20s. Artica rolls a nat 20. I rolled a nat 20.
This is unacceptable behavior.
I did roll a nat 20.
You also rolled one. Wow.
Okay, so...
And number 10.
And I accidentally...
Mine is a 6.
Okay, so... Wait, I can't see the... Why can't I see those now? No, bad. Why? There we go. For some reason, it was only showing me the rolls from 20 minutes ago. So give me a sec to open this up. So we've got initiative 21 from Knob, 21 from Rhea. We have a 19 from Artica.
And all three of those are nat 20s.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my god, really?
That's
Yeah.
something cool, yeah.
That's hilarious. And you have a
An unmodified
a 6
That's right.
from Ulu, and trailing with an unknown value, because I'm not going to tell you what this initiative modifier is, but in last place, the thing that rolled a nat 1, the thing. There we go.
The thing.
Well, this does make things convenient. So 3 of you rolled nat 20s?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so I think the way that initiative is handled between people that have the same initiative score is whoever has the higher initiative modifier goes first. Is that accurate?
So now,
But if they're all
Yeah,
nat 20s, then they would all be tied, right? So
no. So, but I mean, like, Artica has a -1, but both me and
Yeah, at the same.
and we have +1, so we're actually both 21, natural 20 +1.
yeah.
You want to roll dice? And then whoever.
Do we want to roll a tiebreaker?
Yeah, we can roll dice.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a tiebreaker.
20.
Yeah, just 20.
Okay, so let's see.
You can go first. Don't worry about it.
Okay, so Knob, you are up first. What would you like to do as this thing starts kind of... It doesn't look like it's drifting toward you. It does look like it's moving, like it's walking toward you, even though like you can't really distinctly make out legs. It does look like it's starting to walk to approach the group. So what would you like to do?
I will speak toward it, saying, "We mean you no harm."
All right, go ahead and make a persuasion check for me.
Not bad.
That is a very good roll. Let's see. So with a 20 persuade. I want to respect that 20. But at the same time...
Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't actually care, does
It-
it?
At the same time, you want to kill us all.
The thing sort of shifts its posture sort of slightly. And kind of like, it looks like if it had a distinct head, you have a suspicion that it would be turning to face you. And it says something, but it says something in some sort of like, it's the way that it sounds like almost like if a modem was talking to you. Like, you know how the modem has the kind of like that kind of weird, it's making like weird sounds of that kind in your general direction, and then its attention seems to like sort of dissipate back toward someone else. I'm going to say that you can tell that it seems to have its non-eyes focused entirely on Arctica. And you momentarily distracted it, but you can tell based off of the movement when you did distract it where its gaze is, and you suspect that its gaze has been on Arctica this entire time. Would you like to take a... I would consider that probably a bonus action, but would you like to take like a
Can I do an insight
action
check?
or a movement? You can on your turn.
Bonus action, how? What do you mean?
Like the thing that you just did is not, you're just talking, right? Like that's not usually... I wouldn't
okay.
consider that like your full turn's action. So if you have something you want to do on your turn in addition, then you can.
And I take it whatever its communication was, it was not something akin to any language I understand.
Correct. It was not akin to any languages that you have. It sounded... It didn't really sound like language, but the way that it presented it looked like it was talking, if that makes any sense. It sounded more like error codes. Actually, to you in real life, it might have sounded like language because you probably listen to those kinds of tones and know what they mean. But like, as a software engineer, you might actually understand those kinds of tones. But like, as a character, no, it didn't really sound like it. And I don't mean to suggest that it's like synthetic in nature. It's just sort of an alien sound. You can also hold your action to see what other people or the thing are going to do if you prefer.
And this insight into the fact that it focuses on Arctica is known to the party yet?
It would only be known to you
Okay.
because you're the one who...
You can say something if you want.
Yeah, then I'm gonna like turn to the party and like kind of make that known, like, hey, it seems to be focusing on the crystal dragon person thing.
I have a name.
Yeah, that is not apparent to me right now. What is your name, O Crystal Dragon thing?
I do not speak to unworthy things, but
that's
forget my name.
That's actually an out of character question.
The character's name is Arctica.
Arctica.
Oh, it is Arctica.
Yeah. Okay, so if you don't really have anything that you like an action that you want to take, you can just hold your action, right? Like you can.
Yeah, I'll hold the action, but I did like go like, hey, like it seems to be focusing
Yeah.
on you, just like as a warning.
Okay, Rhea, this thing appears to be approaching specifically Arctica. You now know. What would you like to do?
Where are we in like directionally to each other? Like,
You're in the
and how far is it?
You're in the forest. It's not really very far away. Like if you ran, you could reach it and like attack with a melee attack in this round. And if it has a similar speed to you, it could do the same. You know what I mean? Like it's not that far away because this is forest. It's pretty dense. So it's like you see the thing because it's reasonably close to you already. It doesn't seem to be moving that quickly at this particular juncture.
At this particular time.
But it's definitely making movement in this direction.
Okay, so I have my bow out. Can I aim it at him and go like, stop, or I will shoot?
You absolutely can.
Great.
And if you want, you can ready an action where if it does not stop
Yes,
on its turn,
I will
you
do
shoot.
that. Yes.
That's
I
a
will
thing.
do
That's a thing you can do. Okay, so you have a ready to action to attack if it keeps moving. It's fine. So do you have anything else that you want to do on your turn?
that. Could I?
Because that would be like your action. So you could get like range on it if you want. Like you could move further away, or
Yeah. Can I do that?
yeah,
Could I go,
absolutely.
like,
You can try to like get about because I think that your bow probably has like a short range of like 60 or something like that.
150.
Oh yeah, yeah. You could get well outside of its ability to cover distance with you, assuming that it moves about as fast as you do, because you just move back your speed, and then you can still be trained on it with your ready to action.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
What's the actual like system around the two ranges?
I think you have disadvantage for the second range on a ranged attack.
Oh, once you're past the far range.
When you're the far range is for attacking with disadvantage. Beyond that point, the weapon wouldn't reach or wouldn't be able to reach while simultaneously being able to reasonably cause damage. If that makes any sense.
So the first number is like the minimum, like you can't be closer, you have a
No.
disadvantage of like
The first number is how far you can shoot without disadvantage, and then the second number
and the
is with
second number
disadvantage.
is like and at that point after that it's just useless. Okay.
Yeah, after that, it's not really a viable weapon. Like you could potentially take a shot with it, and like as the DM, I can say, well, if you hit a nat 20, you can make this once in a lifetime shot or whatever. But
Yeah.
it's not like realistically a weapon at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's the way that it works. I'd have to look it up, but I'm pretty sure that's what those two numbers refer to. Okay, so Arctica, it is your turn. What would you like to do as this?
I would like to do a perception check to see what else I can perceive, unless y'all think that's totally unnecessary.
You can make a perception check. It's just a free action on your turn.
Wait, what is insight for again? I always get confused with these two.
You can click on any of these things and it'll give you a write-up on what it actually is.
Insight is about
actually-
motivation. It's identifying the motivations of something.
I kind of want to do that.
Okay, go for it. Go ahead and do that with disadvantage because you can only barely see the thing. It's just a shadow, basically.
How? Okay, right click and disadvantage.
Are you fucking kidding me?
What?
17 and 17. Okay, sure, fine, whatever. So you have a 20 insight
I'm
with
sorry?
disadvantage. Okay, so with a 20, you have a suspicion. This thing is approaching you with the intent to harm you. But it doesn't seem like it's It doesn't seem like it's mindlessly attacking you. It seems more like it has a functional reason why it wants to specifically attack you. But you think that this thing is coming for you specifically, and you do not know why. There's nothing about its like mannerisms, there's nothing about the way that it looks that would make you feel like this thing should realistically want to harm you. But you know in your bones this thing is coming for you.
Guys, this thing, I get the heebie-jeebies. I know it is coming for me. I don't know why, but I'm in danger. I don't know what it wants.
I'm also going to give you, because of the fact that this was such a like ridiculous fucking roll, I cannot believe that you got 17 twice. The outline of this thing is very reminiscent to you of a figure that you very much want to devour. The shape looks large because there are two protrusions coming out of its back, and you can tell that this is a winged humanoid of some sort that looks very similar to a creature that you specifically want to devour.
Hunter, get your bow. Tonight we eat. I think it is Arctole. We shall feast on his flesh.
So what are you going to
It
do
is
for your
time for
action?
murder.
What are you going to do for your action? Oh, murderous
I'm
one.
gonna try kill it.
Okay.
Well, except I'm a pacifist, so how do I do this? Okay.
I don't know. What are you going to do?
I mean, I'd use a psychic breath weapon. What the fuck is that? Ooh, I know. Wait, I have spell. Oh, wait, I have detect magic. I should do that.
Okay.
Okay, you want to cast Detect Magic? Let's take a look at what the details on Detect Magic are. Because Detect Magic is not on a target, right?
You had detect magic. I thought with the whole we're supposed to have had detect magic as a way of detecting the forest when we entered, and we didn't do that because nobody had detect magic.
Huh? What the hell? Of course I had detect magic. Unself, but unself.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Arthur not have like guard spells already last time around?
Let's see. Okay. I have the thing up. So what? Give me a Arcana check for me.
Arcana check.
Not technically required for the spell. You can get the basic information of the spell, but it helps for like interpretation of what you're seeing. So with Detect Magic, you can sense the presence of magic within 30 feet. If you sense magic in this way, you can use your action to see a faint aura around anything. So it has a casting. So you can't see the aura yet, because that would require your action. Let's see. You detect a pretty decent amount of like low-level magic, just sort of permeating everything around you, and you also detect a pretty considerable amount coming from the figure in front of you. Can you give me a Constitution saving throw, please?
Oh, where?
You click on your number in Constitution. Yeah.
Okay.
On the left.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Constitution check of 12. One moment while I parse together the details of this. All right, so as you sort of cast this spell and you're sort of detecting like what's going on in front of you, you're kind of overcome with a sense of vertigo, and the spell that you just cast, which is a concentration spell, ends as you vomit on the floor. You just full on vomit. And it doesn't seem to be directly as a result of the spell cast, but they might be connected in some way. But you just feel sick as hell. And as you're sort of like looking around, as you move your head, you have double vision like nothing. Like, it feels like you're running at 3 FPS. Like, drunk out of your mind, or like playing a video game that your computer cannot handle. And you've got like frame skips and shit like that going on. It is incredibly unpleasant.
So, can I do anything, or am I just incapacitated at this point?
Well, you got the spell off, and you got the information from that spell, and that was your action.
Cool.
I would allow you to move half your movement after vomiting if you want. Do you want to move in a particular direction?
I kind of don't know where I am spatially, so how about where am I?
You're probably sort of like in the middle of this like little. It's mostly just like normal. It's just like the rest of the forest for the most part, right? It's not like it's a clearing or anything. But there's littered traps and things like that in the area that the hunter would use for various purposes. But currently, you are probably
to stand beside the hunter.
Okay,
I
so
moved to like flank the hunter in battle position, like kind of like behind her, but like in a support position to kind of have her back.
all right.
You know,
You don't have enough
battle
movement.
formation.
You don't have enough movement to get that far, but you can certainly try to move away from the thing.
Yeah,
which
I'm
is-
just
which
trying
is
to
what
move
Hunter-
into like a defensive battle position to kind of like be near people and just like battle formation. I'm slowly making my way to whatever is a sensible battle formation.
Great. Okay. Who's next on initiative is Ulu, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Ulu, what do you want to do?
I'm gonna yell out to Arnica. Are you okay, Arnica?
This enormous, like, crystalline dragon is just kind of like
Crystals.
Reeling.
I'm vomiting crystals, just FYI. It's
the
not like food, it's like
Yeah.
crystal chunks, so Ulu's into this.
just like chunks of like mineral and like digestive juices.
Shiny stuff and digestive juices.
It's definitely something else.
It's
you know.
glorious and sparkly.
It's definitely
And gross.
It is definitely sparkly. Because you not only have like the inherent shininess of like the crystals and the minerals, you also have the fact that they're wet. So it's like that extra glistening component to it. It's great. On the plus side,
It's glistening.
there's nothing like organic in nature really about it. So that's a plus.
Is Ul smart enough to understand that that's vomit?
I mean, it certainly looks like someone's vomiting.
Okay,
I
it's
would,
got
I
the
would,
sound and everything, right?
like, I would think that if somebody,
the motion.
it might just
sound.
be, might just be a dragon thing, but it looks like someone's vomiting. So it's up to your interpretation whether you would think that a dragon is vomiting crystals or if you think that it's something else. And if you don't want responsibility for that, you can always roll an intelligence roll.
I'm gonna roll. Intelligence.
You don't know how these flesh bags work. I say flesh bags. I guess, and they're not even these reptiles, I guess.
Okay, I got a 1. I got a 2 minus.
That
One.
that shit is shiny AF. You don't know how, but Artica has somehow managed to just conjure with some very powerful magic this beautiful crystalline bounty and to deposit. You don't know why they threw it all on the ground, right? Like, but clearly this creature has the capacity to create beautiful things and just sort of regurgitate them like you would regurgitate like food to your young, right? Like
Exactly.
that's
Glorious.
Okay. Alright. I guess for my bonus action, I'm gonna run over. Gonna run over to Artica and start shoveling up the vomit chunks.
Okay, so you're just like completely ignoring the shadowy thing in the background. You're just like,
Yeah, because I'm terrified of it.
yeah.
But now there's something that really captures my attention.
And hey, they might be useful because they shine, and this is darkness, right?
Yeah.
Shiny.
There you go.
If you
So what I'm gonna do is start gathering up chunks, and when there's big chunks, I'm gonna scoop it up and toss it at the negative.
Go ahead and make a ranged attack roll for me.
How would I do that?
I think it's just dexterity plus your proficiency modifier.
Proficiency in what? Tossing things?
Well, I mean, it's an attack. You have proficiency in attacks. I could argue that you don't have proficiency in this,
unarmed?
but you're basically just throwing rocks. People know how to throw rocks.
Like,
Is
how do
that
I
thing
see
even
proficiency?
close enough to throw a rock at it?
Your proficiency
Like,
bonus
how
is a
far-
+2.
How far is, big, dark, and shadowy right now?
It would probably be somewhere between like 30 and 50 feet from where they're standing.
Can you even throw a rock that far without a sling or something?
I can damn well try.
Yeah, I mean, you can certainly try.
Sorry, how do you see
Maybe like a
proficiency? in
strength?
this?
Or something?
Your proficiency bonus is +2
Where?
because you're a level 1 character.
Oh,
No,
it's
but
on
where do
top.
I see it? That's my
Right on
question.
top. Beside the walking speed and charisma.
I'm blind. Thank you very much. All right.
Yeah.
So
Type in it and then-
dexterity.
I never have to look
Yeah,
at these
yeah.
things, so
Any second.
is there not just like a range? I guess there probably wouldn't be, right?
No, we have an arm.
I got a total of 7.
You got a 7.
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily anticipate just how wet this is going to be. So as you go to throw this slurry of stuff, it just kind of scatter shots along the ground as it slips out of your hand, and it sort of goes whoosh, and creates a cone of just sort of shiny intestinal juices and
Ulu just
rocks.
wow.
It looks really pretty.
Yeah.
Legit, even for the people who even for the people who realize that it's vomit, it does look cool. It's not like throwing a human's vomit. It's throwing a crystalline dragonborn's vomit, which is made out of minerals and shiny shit. It looks pretty cool, but it's not terribly effective as a combat weapon. Okay, so now the entity is going to be taking its turn, and it is in
Yep,
fact
it's not
going.
allowed to. I still have a cute action that I can take.
Yep. Are you gonna jump in now?
Well, with all the weird shit going on, I'm.
What's
going-
strange about this? What has been unusual about this combat scenario that we've been in?
This seems like a typical combat scenario to me.
No problems at all.
In the situations you find yourself in, definitely. I'm just going to back the fuck away.
Okay. So you're just gonna get as much distance as possible?
Yeah, we'll go hang out with the ranger or something.
Okay. That's probably a good call. Alright, so now the creature, the thing, is going to continue moving, which means that your ready to action, Rhea, would take place now before it actually does its turn, but it's definitely continuing forward, so your ready to action
Shoot it.
applies. Alright, so you're going to shoot it. Go ahead and make a ranged attack roll for me.
Oh, I just...
That is damage.
Oh, do I...
That's-
What do I press?
The button before that is the hit DC.
You have to hit it first.
Oh, okay. Correct.
Let's see.
Okay.
12. So you fire your longbow at this shadowy thing, and just completely whiff. It's like trying to distinguish between it and the shadows behind it. It's like whatever. Like it's starting to get a little bit darker, so like the distinction between the shadows and the thing, not super high. Plus there's all this shiny shit in the air that's just distracting. It's like somebody just vomited. It's a very tense situation. So unfortunately a 12 is not enough to hit.
Very hectic.
Unfortunate.
So then the thing continues its advance. And it is going to approach into the general direction of Arctica. And the rest of you all are all kind of huddled around Rhea, correct? Is that accurate? No. Ulu is hanging out with Arctica, and the other two are about 15 feet back in their own thing. So this thing continues its approach toward Arctica, but isn't able to actually reach Arctica. But as it's sort of like approaching toward you, all of a sudden it sort of like raises up its hands in this incredibly, ridiculously dramatic gesture and just like goes, whew, and a cloud of darkness just pours forth. And because you all are within a 20-foot radius, hits all of you. So, I would like all of you to make reflex saves for me. Yay!
What's that?
Reflex save is a reflex saving throw. It should be on your character sheet. It's there's like a whole saving throws column. So it's basically if you have proficiency in dexterity, it'll be boosted. Otherwise, it's just your dex modifier.
Just dex then.
30?
Yeah, but I don't know if you have proficiency as your class. So
Is it just a dex roll?
underneath, so where it says dex under saving throws, that's actually your dex saving throw. It's not a dex roll.
Right, so what I'm saying is,
Oh.
so that's the reflex.
Yeah, are
Roll.
we doing dexterity or are we...
Yes, sorry, they changed the name. It's now called a dexterity saving throw. It's no longer called a reflex save. Sorry, those two terms are interchangeable
It's
in my
okay,
head,
Boomer.
not in the real world.
Hey, tiny.
And I need to look at this thing,
Ah!
which
Oh my
gives.
goodness. Here, here.
Okay, so
Why is this so bad?
I have.
Tiny.
This is an interesting
That's a
combat
dex
encounter.
check you rolled, you need to run a dex save though.
How? Where?
Yeah, Arctica, you do actually have proficiency in dexterity, so it would just be +2 from whatever you had.
Is that a kitten?
Yes.
Very kitten.
Tiny.
Holy crap!
Um,
It wouldn't matter. Like that's definitely high enough. Ooh, and it's very good that you rolled high because I rolled high. So,
oh lord.
everyone who we don't have any rogues in the party, do we? No? Great. Everyone who failed their saving throw, you take 5 points of fire damage. Everyone.
What's a saving throw? Sorry, what is this? How do you know if you failed or not?
We just figured that out.
Yeah. So basically, Nob and Arctica, you both successfully saved. The other two did not.
Yeah.
So the other two, you take 5.
I have resistance to fire damage.
So then you
Resistance
take
to fire?
2. You take 2 points. Ulu takes 5 points, and everyone else who made their saving throw takes 2 points of fire damage. As this sort of cloud of like dark smoke shit just sort of like sears everyone's flesh.
Wait, so I take 2 points of fire damage too?
Yep, everyone takes damage. It
So
is
So what do I do?
it is a save for half, so you take 2 damage.
I have a
Yes.
question here.
Sure,
Can I help you?
Reactions can occur when it's not your turn, yes?
that's when reactions typically occur. Yes.
Okay.
Do you have a reaction you'd like to
So-
use?
Yes.
So what happens?
My Discord is having some issues. What happens?
As a reaction, you would like to break Discord.
No, they're reacting to Discord breaking.
Okay, so a second, sorry. Yeah, yes. Okay. So, as soon as, the flames kind of hit Ulu and kind of dissipate, um, very shortly after, uh, one of their wing limbs, from their back, just kind of on their own, seemingly, because Ulu is just very surprised and scared, and just not even recovered from having been attacked, from the shock of having been attacked. But the wing limb on his back stretches out very, very fast, and it stretches like way longer than it should be able to stretch, and like just kind of like pierces the like attempts to pierce the negative. That's what I'll call it.
The negative. I like that.
Yeah.
So you can go ahead and.
So you need to do I think a dexterity save.
I can do that.
Yes.
I can certainly roll a
saving throw.
dexterity saving throw with my nice red die.
Tell me if you get above or below a 12.
I got a 22. How's a 22 work for you? I like this die. This die makes me happy. But that's a save for half, right? So it's still, you still roll your damage, right?
Yeah. How do I roll for damage?
You can just
Can I press the button?
prop.
Yeah, you can press the damage button and it will roll. Like if it's a ability that's
Like the
actually in your character
underscored,
sheet.
the underscored bold button, like where it says like 1d10 or whatever.
Probably. You can go ahead and try it and see what happens.
Okay, I don't know if this is a VTT thing, but the last one I checked, the first one was an 8. Anyway, it's a 15. So half of that.
Where is this showing up? Why can't I see
It's
it?
not. Yeah, that's the thing.
It's interesting. For example, like on one of my spells, I have an effect which is 1d8 plus 3.
Oh. Ark, I'm just gonna press the cast button.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go.
Yeah, and that should work. Did you get that?
I am looking at an old thing again. For some reason, the game log isn't updating for me consistently, so I have to reload the page. So that's unfortunate.
That's cast pact slot. It said. I have no idea how I'm supposed to do this.
I still don't actually see it, but that's fine. You said you rolled a 15, right?
That was the total, so just half of that, I guess, and it should
Okay.
be bludgeoning.
So that's okay. That's bludgeoning damage.
Oh no! Sorry, I'm wrong. Necrotic.
Oh, it's necrotic damage.
Necrotic. Yeah.
Okay, so basically, your wing just sort of like lashes out and just sort of like slices out across this thing, and like unnaturally, because this is like
Very far.
50 feet away from you, and your limb just kind of like goes out and like space-time warps. It's like just
And then
Which-
very quickly goes back.
and then just goes back.
Where it was.
Yeah, then just goes back to normal. Like, oh yeah, everything's fine, everything's normal. Okay, so that dealt. Let's see here. That does
Since that was so fast,
7
does,
necrotic. I think.
like, did the party notice that happening?
Yeah.
Actually, with that
You
with
wanna
that
do rolls for that?
motion, I would actually like everyone would have seen that happen, and I'm actually going to do some rolls over
Would I
here in
have?
the
Because am
background.
I still vomiting?
You might not have. You can roll a perception check if you want. I won't make you roll a perception check to see it, but you can. Let's see. So that is. Let's see.
I think Nob and Rhea would have seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, both of you would have seen
I
it.
saw it.
Artica saw it.
Okay. So
Everyone saw it.
as that happens, the watching this clearly unnatural thing happen in front of you, Knob. And to a lesser degree, Rhea, does not do wonders for your stomach. And you start feeling quite nauseous. Rhea, you don't feel nauseous, but you're getting a sense of like, I don't know how much of the double vision stuff was communicated by the other characters. You're clearly seeing like there's something off with your vision that is just not quite working correctly, not quite how you want it to go. Particularly, you know, for archery, just generally unpleasant to be like, oh great, double vision. That's what I want. That's gonna help my aim. Okay, and that is the end of that. Can everyone make a perception check for me, actually?
Sure.
Sure.
At this point, I'm gonna be really surprised if I roll anything above like a 9 for any checks.
It
I
is
kind of want to do a nature
Oh my
check
God.
too, because like that looked really unnatural. So I'm just
Wow.
intrigued.
that investigating that further would be done on your turn. This perception check is for
Okay.
something that I Ulu 0. Oh man. Okay, so let's see here.
That's an actual 0, nat 1 minus 1.
Yep.
Ooh.
Ulu doesn't really notice things. Just in general.
You know what's funny? I rolled a 2 on this stealth check. So that's actually high enough to get past Ulu. So
Yeah.
the rest of you see, coming from like a different direction out in the trees, another shadowy figure start to emerge. This is much smaller than the first one. This is like, you know, I don't know, like 3 or 4 feet tall, just sort of like emerging from the trees and heading in y'all's general direction. And
I do a perception check. I kind of want to see if this
You
is
already
like, if
did.
The first one was.
that's what you just
Was
did.
that- I have a theory. Can I tell my group the theory as I'm retching?
Go for it. You can tell people what you want on your turn.
Like now?
On your turn. So, whose turn is it now? Let's take a look here. First is Knob. So, Knob, what do you want to do?
Well, first of all, the whole weird wing extension thing was weird as hell. So
It
I'm
was
a,
sus.
I'm a failed somewhat miserably at making very astute insights into that.
It checks out. Checks out.
out.
As far as you're concerned, that seems about normal. It does not. With a 9, that's clearly unusual. That does not seem like an Aarakocra thing. Doesn't seem like a thing that is normal for anything, but you don't really know what it would be. You don't have like a further
Maybe
insight.
it's just this environment, you know, something weird's going on.
It could also be some sort of magical effect. Like it's just like it's unclear.
And I'm also gonna double it up with an Arcana check because there's weird magical shit going on.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure out what the hell's going on, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are you using the Arcana check on? Is this like on the general situation that's in front of you?
Yeah. So I mean, I guess it's supposed to kind of wrap around the unnatural, what the fuck just happened with Bird, and also, so I guess the shadow took some damage from that attack. That's what happened in the end.
Is that what you want to find out?
No. But like, I mean, I think that
I will give you a general. I don't want to give you more information about specifically what happened with the bird because you already rolled for that. But I can tell you about
I'm trying to understand like what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, so that thing actually took damage from the weird ass attacks. I'm just trying to like magically kind of make sense of it.
You suspect that there is some sort of magical effect that is responsible for the illness that you are feeling and for these things that are approaching you. The thing that just got hit did appear like there was contact made. It doesn't seem to... It doesn't have like a reaction in this, like a pained reaction or anything like that. There's no emoting that gives you the impression that it was damaged. But it does look like contact was made and it was probably hurt based off of like the movement from the actual impact, right? But it's not emoting like a pained animal would. It's just kind of like you would think of it as like a construct almost, the way that it's kind of approaching. But constructs can be destroyed.
Okay.
And I would say that you've probably used your primary action with doing 2 of those checks. So do you have anything that's a bonus action that you'd like to do?
I'm going in preparation. Is this a
You can't ready an action with a bonus action, unfortunately.
is my magical tinkering a full action?
What is your magical tinkering?
Imbuing a tiny non-magical object with a magical property, like the same thing that made the shiny coin and stuff.
Oh, that's a good question.
It doesn't seem to. Oh no, action type, 1 action.
All right, so that's an action then.
Okay.
You do still have, I think, 1 coin. Oh, who has the coin? Somebody has a glowing coin.
It's
Ulu has the glowing coin. Okay, so you have a glowing coin, but you don't have it on your person.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have to make a coin. I can apply the effect to any other inanimate object too.
Right, but that would require an action. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
if you wanted to toss the coin somewhere without like attacking for damage, I would let you do that as a bonus action. But you don't have the coin.
So,
Let's see.
This is gonna be. I'm asking Ulu to throw the coin towards the shadow.
Okay.
And Ulu is, imagine, is very uninclined to throw shiny thing away. No, you're cool with that?
Ulu just threw a bunch of shiny stuff at the shadow.
Throw shiny stuff at the shadow.
Okay. So
This is an emergency situation to Ulu.
It's all weird and shadowy. Maybe try throwing the shiny coin at it.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I will say that that's probably your turn done. Rhea, what would you like to do?
Shoot again.
There are now 2 of these things approaching from in the distance.
Double the chance to hit.
How far is the smaller one?
The smaller one is. So the basic gist is, I would think of like, if you assume that the first one is like due north, right, and everyone else has moved south to varying degrees to get away from it. This thing is like northwest and is approaching. It's probably about as far away as the other one was when it first arrived. So it like, on its next action, it could probably get to Arctica or Ulu, but it is too far away on this action to probably move much further than that.
Okay, so the bigger one is the priority here. I'm going to try and attack it again.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm gonna shoot at it.
15 hits. Go ahead and roll your damage.
6.
6 points of damage. So you just sort of like pull back your bow and fire a shot into this thing, and that's a pretty good shot. You shoot it, and like where you would expect its like torso to be, an arrow just kind of lodges into the darkness and just kind of sits there. So like it made contact and it's in there, but like it doesn't really seem to react. Like again, like it's like a construct where it's like, I don't feel pain. What's a pain, right? But you're clearly hitting it and presumably causing some degree of damage. Let's see here. So we have... Okay. Do you have anything else that you want to do on your turn for like bonus action or anything like that? Okay.
I don't think I can do anything yet.
I'm actually going to roll a thing for you. Okay.
I'm done my turn, yeah.
So, as the arrow leaves your quiver and starts traveling at fucking light speed, for a brief moment, you see two arrows, like in slightly different locations, and you start feeling really sick. Like, this is not okay. You are not feeling terribly well at all. But you still hit it. Luckily, the double vision happened after you fired the arrow, not before. All right. And so that is... who is next on our initiative? That would be Artica. So, Artica, you are up.
Okay, cool. So first of all, I cast healing on Birdie.
Healing?
You're casting a healing spell on Ulu?
Yeah, is that a bad time to do a healing spell? Like,
I mean, did Ulu take
I'm-
any damage?
Ulu
he
took
did,
5
didn't
damage.
he?
I'm at half
Is it
HP.
five?
Yeah, so I'm casting healing word. I don't actually know how it works, so I'm just gonna cast it and see what happens.
Fair.
Do you, is it a variable, like, is it like a 1d something, like, healing spell?
I don't know. It's okay. So
I think it's D4 plus your ability modifier.
yeah, 1d4 plus 3 hit points. So
So
what
you,
do I
have, so,
do?
so you have to click on the roll, like, I don't know, I've never cast my Cure Wounds, so I don't know what that
Just
actually
roll
mechanically
roll a
looks like.
D4 for me. Just we know that it's plus 3.
Yeah, like we're only level 1. It's actually pretty easy for us to just calculate these things ourselves and just tell the information.
But
That
I
is
want
a
to
1.
press buttons that do
One.
things.
Okay, so that would be 4
Yeah,
points of
less
healing.
things.
I have unfortunate news for you, Ulu.
What?
You do not receive that healing.
Okay.
You are not healed by this effect.
At all.
Wait, what? Why?
You do not receive any healing from this effect.
Okay.
As you cast this spell, Artica, there seems to be some sort of effect that is blocking some degree of healing. Like, you can feel the healing energy go into Ulu and not do what you would expect it to do. Right? Like, these wounds that Ulu has are not healing. The magic is working, kind of. You can feel this sort of divine radiant energy going in, and it should be healing, and it's just not. But you have a suspicion that if a sufficiently powerful heal might be able to bypass this, but you're not. But you're,
So it's
you're
like a
unclear.
heal block instead of like we're in an alternate reality type situation.
It feels like something is absorbing it. It doesn't feel like, oh, I cast this heal spell and nothing happened. It feels like I cast this heal spell and something ate it. But you suspect that
Okay.
some. Go ahead and give me an Arcana check for me. Or I guess you could give me a religion check, but Arcana works. You have a suspicion that any healing under 5 points is going to be absorbed by something that you do not understand.
So basically, can't even heal. Shit.
Well, if you had rolled higher than a 1, if you had rolled a 3, you would have gotten 1 point of healing through. But you have to kind of get through that effect first. If that makes any sense.
Okay, I gotcha. Do I still have an attack action?
You still have your standard action because healing word is a bonus action.
Okay, cool. So my standard action. Let's see.
Or bait, whatever
And
it's
there's
called. now,
still two
basically.
targets, right?
There are currently 2 targets.
Okay. And are they 30 feet away?
Give me a perception check.
Excuse me.
There are 2 targets.
Okay, are they within 30 feet?
For the purposes of you wanting to do a breath weapon cone on both of them? Is that what you're asking?
Maybe not.
I would say that they're both
Not really.
they're both within they are within 30 feet of you, yes. Give or take. One of them is very close, it's like 5 feet away from you. The other is probably around 30 feet away from you. They're both in the same direction, so if you had a cone effect, you could hit both. Though I think your cone is 15 feet, right? If your cone's 15,
Yeah.
if your cone's 15 feet, that wouldn't be sufficient to hit the distant one.
Ark, I gotta go to the bathroom,
Okay.
but I'm gonna tell you my next action on Discord.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so I'm not sure if I can do this, but let's see if these things can laugh. So I'm gonna try cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter,
Okay.
and basically a creature of my choice that you can see within range perceives everything as. Oh wait, this is not a cone. This is just one creature.
It is one creature.
That's annoying. That's annoying. Let's see. No, you know what? Vicious Mockery.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do Vicious Mockery.
Okay. On which one?
I'm pissed. The one closest to me, I suppose.
Okay.
How do I cast this?
Let's see here. Vicious Mockery. Does that require a hit check?
I don't know. It just says at will, and I guess it's 1d4 psychic. Is that it? So I just
Yeah.
roll a
This
1d4.
has to be on someone that can hear, I think.
Vicious Mockery.
If the shade can hear.
Yeah, can the shade hear me? Can the shade hear me?
Yes.
Yes, they can. They have the ability to hear.
Okay, so I'm gonna do Vicious Mockery, and I'm gonna roll 1d4 for it.
Okay. Sounds good. And that will also give it. So it then needs to make a Wisdom saving throw. It fails the saving throw. So. Shades, not necessarily the most thinger. So Vicious Mockery, 2 points of psychic damage are being dealt to this thing. Okay. All right, so what do you say to this shadowy simulacrum that damages its psyche so much that it takes actual physical harm from your
I
insult?
describe how I'm going to turn it into curry.
Just start giving it like a recipe.
Ranting, kind of, but more like how I am going to eat it, because in my head it's Arctole. It's gotta do with Arctole.
All right, and it failed its wisdom save, so it now has disadvantage on its next attack roll. Next on our list.
Nodding along to your description.
Next on our list is
Ooh.
Ulu, who's center. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna assume that I wasn't given a target, but I assume this is gonna be the same one that everyone's been attacking this whole time. So, basically, like, I guess I'll just have to describe what happens with Ulu. So Ulu, it is sort of just like sitting in this basically puddle of vomit, and sort of like takes his wing and kind of like throws it up, right? And this just like all of the like shit that's been like collected here, all of this like digestive juices and unpleasantness and shards of like diamond are hurled. I guess they're not diamonds, they're whatever mineral type, are just hurled at this thing, and just it is a strange interaction to see a creature that doesn't have like it's like an absence of light and stuff like that, and seeing sort of like part of it kind of get dissolved in the stomach acid is kind of fucked up, because instead of things like disappearing, its things kind of like appearing, like you can kind of see a little bit of like what's behind it and shit. Like it's gross. And now this thing is just spattered because you can't see it, but all the things that are now attached to it, all these gross looking like rocks and the acid spit and like all this kind of shit. I mean, I guess it's technically spit, but this regurgitated juice is just like spun on this thing, and this thing now is now covered in an arrow and like all this gunk. It doesn't seem to mind, which is convenient because gross.
Yeah.
Okay. And that is Ulu's turn. Let's see here. Actually, give me a second. Okay. Let's see. So, next on our agenda is my friendly little beasties, right? Is that what's going on now? I think it's my friendly
Yeah.
little beasties. I love my friendly little beasties.
How friendly.
They're very friendly.
Great friends.
So, let's see here. We have okay, so I guess I'll resolve the first one's action first. So the entity that has been approaching Arctica this whole time is now able to get into melee range and sort of just reaches out one of its like just shadowy hands to do something unclear, and that does a 13 hit your armor class, Arctica?
Most probably.
What is that?
A 13 hit. What is your armor class? Your armor class is 9, so that's a yes. Fun! I like hitting wizards. So, let's see here. So with that being the case, I guess that means I get to roll damage. That's the wrong one. Where are you, my friend? Where are you? Oh, I like that. You
I
take.
don't like that.
I like it a lot.
I don't like it either.
I love when I roll like that. Give me 1 second to take a look here. I think that it has a bonus of. Let's see. It does. You take 10 points of fire damage.
I think I die because I have 10 hit points.
Is 10 your current hit points?
I don't know.
You took 2 points before. Is 10 your max?
Yes.
Okay. So you are dropped to -2,
How
which
do
does
I
not kill
reflect
you.
this?
That knocks you unconscious. If you have the shield spell, you could potentially have it miss. And
What,
if you
what?
have a
I don't
reaction,
understand.
if you have a reaction, you might be able to prevent this from happening.
What's a reaction? No.
Okay. So you are dropped to -2 HP, and interesting things begin to happen. So
How
the
do
first
I
thing
get
that
to,
happens.
wait, but how do I reflect that?
So on your character sheet, next to your HP, is a green heal and a red damage. In between that is a text box. You put the number 10 into the text box and click damage.
There we go. Okay, so as you are hit very hard by this thing, I rolled a 7 on a d8, so that was nice. So as this thing hits you, and sort of like just knocks you full throttle on your ass, you start feeling really sick. But what should have knocked you unconscious does not at all cause any sort of HP damage, you are actually still not incapacitated. You are actually at full HP still. You are just sick as fuck. So give me a second to check something so that I can tell you what your fun little symptoms are. Let's see.
What did I miss?
Artica just got hit for 10 points.
damage.
For 10 points of damage. It was very fun and exciting. And it still is.
Which brought Artica below actual like HP, which she should have died, but interesting things are happening.
Yes. So, as you basically are hit by this thing, and it set you on fire. To be perfectly clear, this was fire damage that you just took. You are planted firmly on your ass. And as you try to get up, the vertigo and inability to focus on your surroundings has reached a point where you are vomiting on the ground. So you are just full on vomiting. If you take any action, you are going to need to roll a concentration check.
Contents to keep vomiting for this long.
You can be dry heaving. So plus you have a really big stomach. You're a dragonborn.
Constitution check?
Not right now. When you take an action, you're so sick now that you're going to need to roll a concentration check to take that action. Because I love being an asshole. So, next is the next one on our agenda. So, give me a second. So the small figure in the distance starts just sort of like approaching the party. And specifically, it is just ignoring the clump where Ulu and Artica are, and it is approaching the people who are further away at range. And give me 1 second to check what this thing is going to be doing.
Can I tell people my theory now?
Was there a reason you did it on your turn?
I just forgot that
Yeah,
my turn was...
Go ahead.
Guys, I think these things are like our evil doppelgangers of our desires or something. Mine is literally a fire god and the other is a shorty that's ignoring all of us and probably heading for the gnome. Just saying.
As you mentioned that, this short thing over in the distance, which is starting to approach, moves up its sort of one of its limbs, which seems unusually large, and just like a bolt of pure darkness hurls out in the general direction of the ranged people and misses so badly that it's unclear who it was even targeting, to be perfectly frank. And now I would like everyone to give me a perception check.
Wow.
I love my life. I love my life. Did you roll a 1 again?
Oh
Might
my
as well
god.
be.
Hey, someone did. We got
I did.
We got a 2. We got a 6. Okay, so the 2 from so an 8 and 11. Yeah, there's still two. There's still 2 things out there. It's still 2, no problem. It's all good. It's all good. There's still two shadowy creatures out there. So it is now. We're going back to the top. So back to the top is Knob. What do you want to do right now?
Then. Let's see. Hey, Rhea.
Yes.
I have an idea. I don't know if this will do anything, and these things are, weird as fuck, but hey, it's worth a shot. You've been able to actually potentially shoot the damn things. So I want to try something. I'm going to imbue light into one of your arrows, and then you shoot it with that, and let's see what happens.
Let's do it.
Okay, so that's my action. I'm imbuing one of her arrows with light.
Okay. That seems reasonable. So next is next is Rhea. So this is basically like a combo move.
Yeah. How far is the small one?
How far is the what?
The small shade.
It's now probably. It's probably closer to you than the others are. It's about like, if you can imagine, it's about like one movement's distance closer to you. So it's now within movement range to get to you. And it's sort of like a little bit to the side of where Ulu and Arctica are. So it's still like northwest of you, but it's more like just due west of the other two.
Okay, so I could attack and I could move away from it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna attack the big one because that seems most pertinent. With my bow and light. Oh, snap. So bad. Did I hit?
What did you just roll? A 9. No. That is not sufficient.
I would
You know-
like to find out though, how wild did that shot fly? Where did it land in relation to the target?
This shot, this probably went over its left shoulder. Just like,
So like way past it.
as in where the arrow lands?
Yes.
Give me a perception check.
I mean, I don't really need to know exactly. I just need to know like the DM perspective of, did it land within 5 feet?
Oh no, an arrow that's
Okay.
shot at something is gonna go, like if it misses its target, it's gonna keep. Actually no. Give me a luck check, because this place is just full of fucking trees. You could have shot over its left shoulder and hit a tree that's within 5 feet of it. So give me a luck check. Let's say let's give you 50-50 odds. Just roll a d20. So roll a d20. If it's above 10,
roll?
if it's above, yeah, you're the one who shot at it.
Yeah, okay.
That's above a 10. Sure, there was a tree within 5 feet of it, and so you just shot and you missed the thing, but you hit the tree. You hit the
So
tree.
Now there is a
Now there's a
magical light source within its radius of effect. Does that do anything, DM?
that does do interesting things, because you would think that would sort of light up the thing, but the light is just sort of like absorbed into it. There's almost like a weird warping effect where it looks like the light is being drawn into it almost. So like you would expect it to be just like a circular or a spherical mode of light, but the ends of the light are being kind of weirdly distended and like pulled in, so that it's more of like an oval shape of light as the light is sort of just being drawn into this thing. And anyone can make like an Arcana check or whatever kind of check you want to figure out what the fuck is going on with that.
Is that nature perception? What I do?
You could, I could see an argument for nature. I could see perception is an easy. But yeah, like depending on what you roll, you'll get different information.
I'll roll both perception, I guess.
That's 21. Make a sanity check for me. Wrong system. Okay, so with a 21, the light is being distended in this very strange way, right? But you almost don't think that the actual cause of this is the shadow itself. It's almost like there's an effect that is affecting the shadow and is also affecting the things that are directly around the shadow, right? Like the point of origin of this, it looks very much like this thing is just absorbing the light. But you think the point of origin for the darkness and the point of origin for the light being absorbed are the same point of origin, but are not actually the darkness itself. So that's what you get on a 21.
Could I tell where that point of origin is?
You're also not feeling great.
Okay.
You're also not feeling too great. You feel a little sick to your stomach. Not gonna lie.
Hey, how's it?
I'll let everyone know this information, because I'm not keeping this to myself.
Hey,
What do you say?
I don't know. It's so strange. Explain it for me, Art.
I can't explain it for you. If I explain it for you, then that's that. It's like the thing doesn't appear to be. It's like an effect that's affecting both, not like the thing is affecting another thing. So you can explain that however you want,
Okay.
and hopefully more coherently than I did.
I don't think the point of origin of this darkness is from the shade. Be on the lookout for something stranger than this, I guess. I don't know.
Be on the lookout for stranger things.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay,
That makes sense.
that was a fun turn. I like that turn. So who's next? Next is Artica, I guess. Artica, what would you like to do?
Okay, so I am dead.
No, you're at full HP. You're just very sick.
Oh, okay. So I have death saves on my character because I had to drop all my health points. So I'm not sure if I will be able to cast anything.
I
but
mean,
we'll
you should
see.
be able to undead yourself.
Yeah, just heal
How?
heal yourself for 10.
Okay,
you took
so
twi-
I'm
you
gonna
took-
try.
Mechanically, you took 10 damage and then healed 10 HP.
Something magically healed you and left you with a really bad hangover.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to give myself my HP back. How do I do that? Okay, so just
The same
Heal
thing.
myself.
The same way you
10.
healed yourself. Or the same way you damaged yourself is for healing. You just click the heal button instead of damage.
Yeah, you see,
Well-
like, there's a middle box.
so is
Underneath you
everyone
and
like
above
healed
damage.
up?
Hmm?
Is everyone okay and healed up?
No, everyone else still has the amount of damage that they have. You're the only one who's at full HP.
Okay. I will heal.
Okay.
Who has the lowest health? Within 60 feet of me.
Probably still Ulu.
Probably still Ulu.
Okay,
Ulu's the only other one who's
try
taking
to
damage.
heal Hulu. So,
Gonna
creature of
try
your
again.
choice, range, yeah, 1d4 plus your spellcasting ability modifier. What's my spellcasting ability modifier?
How many spells per day do you have, by the way?
Isn't it?
Oh, +3, so...
Yeah, like if you press the cast button, it'll actually subtract one of your slots. So that's like, you want to try to do that as much as possible.
You only have two
I
first
did
level.
press-
You've cast 2 first level spells already.
I can't have. I mean, I cast healing and it didn't work.
You
and
cast
then
healing word and
I-
detect magic, so you are out of first level spell slots.
What the bullshit? Okay, so what can I do?
You can attack things. You can use cantrips. You can. There's a lot
Oh,
of
okay.
things.
You know what? I'm going to create a minor illusion because one of the shadows is moving towards the gnome or it's moving towards someone. So I create an illusion of the gnome in the opposite place that it is. Yes.
Is that a minor illusion? Because I don't think that's a minor illusion. I think
I can
that's
create a
major
sound or
illusion.
an image of an object.
Is a gnome an object?
A
Should
gnome
like
is
to
a
believe
freaking
that.
object.
You
You'd
could.
like to believe that.
It's like a 2D, like, JPEG.
Yeah, I created a
You know,
2D
kinda like a
JPEG
poster.
cardboard cutout.
Like,
It's
just like
a very
literally,
high
yeah, like a
quality.
silhouette.
Yeah.
Like a silhouette just standing there, propped up.
Because I think that.
It's a very like high quality image. Okay, let's give me some props here.
I feel like
It's a good
One
quality.
angle.
minor image. I think is specifically it cannot actually like act. Like it can't do any movement. There's nothing complicated like that in it. You could
It's
create
just standing there.
a like
I
fake
can just
version.
make a sound with it. Like I can just like
No,
make
you
it
can do
make
that
some noise. Yeah,
think you can-
exactly. So it's a 2D cutout with some noise in it. I didn't say I was good. I was just trying some cheap theater tricks to see how intelligent these damn things are. You know.
Okay.
So how do I do that?
You've done it. But I would like you to roll a deception check for me. Or actually, no. You can give me a performance check. You've got performance. You can give me a performance check.
Oh my god. Okay, you know what? It does make sense. I'm not exactly in the best of states right now.
Right, right.
All right, so you create
I mean,
a
I'm throwing up.
basically appropriate simulacrum of what is clearly a gnome. Is it this gnome? You didn't really pay enough attention to what they were wearing. Like, you
You
know,
don't look at them enough.
yeah, it's like you'd have to like reference back, but anytime you look at them, you get sick. So not optimal scenario for creating this, but you know, it's a thing. It's out there. Is that all you're going to do on your turn?
What else can I do? Oh wait, vicious mockery. I can do vicious mockery.
Isn't the thing that you just did an action, or is it a bonus action?
That's a cantrip. I
Can-
don't
but is
know.
it a bonus action or
Cantrips are actions
How
or
do I
bonus
check?
actions.
When you click on your cantrip, it will tell you what is it, like casting time.
Minor illusion is an action, and so is vicious mockery.
So I can't do it.
No.
Okay, so that's all I do.
Okay. Fun times.
Hey, what happened on my last turn?
Okay, so you basically
I
you basically collected some of the gunk on your wing that's like in the pool below you and just kind of like launched these like shiny rocks and digestive juices with your wing straight into the chest of this like thing, and it all kind of just like wedged in there, so you now have like this like acidic like stomach acid shit and like other encrusted stuff just like kind of like lodged into the darkness. So you've got like the arrow sticking out, you've got all this random gunk covering the front of it. And
Arguably, probably the most interesting thing that happened so far.
Did you read your Discord messages?
I did.
Okay, just check.
I did. This is how I interpreted the action that you took in the way that it would be. Give me a second. Let's see.
You busy?
I'm typing to you.
Oh.
Because I had to roleplay your character, so I had to do a little bit of interpretation of what you were doing.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm-
So, how am I feeling?
How are you feeling? It's a good question. How are
Good?
you feeling? I don't know.
Great.
You tell me.
Totally unaffected?
Tell me.
How do I tell you?
No, how do you... Oh, do you mean your character? Ulu's...
Yes.
Ulu's not feeling great. Ulu's felt better.
Not feeling great?
A bit of like...
The first I've heard of it.
Well, you weren't here last turn. You weren't here to hit... But yeah, you're not feeling great either. Like, it's been... You're not, like, on the floor vomiting, but you've definitely got some double vision going on. Like, it is, like, anytime, like, a rapid movement happens, it is a bit rough. It's a bit rough.
Oh no.
Rapid movement. Nobody's enjoying the rapid movement. Except me. I like the rapid movements.
Doesn't sound too good.
And I mean, oh, actually, it's Ulu's turn. So what would Ulu like to do now? I like
Good, huh? Doesn't feel good.
I like my life. Not feeling great. Feeling kind of sick.
Is wait. Yeah, I guess this time rapid movement. This time Ulu's gonna, do the thing where they swipe a tiny Wait, they swipe a wing limb and a tiny stream, like a very short burst of stream of, I guess, green stuff, uh, like, shoots out of their, the tip of like their wing limb. uh, it goes a little bit of a distance.
So just like you like drip shit off of your wing, like
Yeah, it doesn't go very far, right? It's like a low pressure super soaker, right? Of green stuff comes out, and it looks like there's no freaking way it's gonna reach. And then it disappears, like completely out of sight, and suddenly it reappears very close to the target. And let me roll. What am I rolling? Rolling to hit.
Yep. There's always so much suspense anytime you roll because
So slow.
that is a
10.
10.
Okay.
So it just kind of like shoots out and disappears out of existence. And then just like there's just this splat as like this green stuff just hits a tree somewhere nearby and starts just sizzling.
Can I toss a coin as a bonus action? Can I flip a coin to my Witcher?
Absolutely. If you're not trying to actually cause damage, because you're not trying to cause damage with a coin. Like I'd say
I'm just
yeah,
trying to throw it at it though.
Yeah.
Right? Not damage, but yeah.
Yeah, I'll let you.
I'm gonna try and take the coin that, was given a shiny effect.
You probably also missed that. Were you here for the bow interaction just now?
I was.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna toss a coin at the negative
Okay.
dexterity roll.
Yeah, with proficiency. Just like basically like a ranged attack, but
The suspense. The suspense.
A 4 total. Where's it go?
this thing is unfortunately.
All right. Let me say. So I toss the coin, and it's very easy to track even with all the issues. It's not traveling that quickly. You see the light for about 1 second, and it hits a tree, like a tree limb, very like above Ulu, and just like falls down.
Well played. To be sure. It's not easy to throw things when you have double vision. Double vision makes a lot of things hard. It's hard to fight this way. Do you have any bonus actions or anything like that you're going to be doing on your round?
That should be the end of my round. Sorry, Knob. And then that's the end of my round.
So that means it's time for
That-
our...
Did that coin
Nice.
land within 5 feet of the thing?
No.
Under
It
normal
landed, like,
circumstances...
within 10 feet of me or something.
It started within 5 feet of the thing and managed to end 15 feet away.
It was a 2.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
It's very nice colors.
I approve. Very cool looking. Okay, so now it is the 2 things' turn. So we're going to start out with the first beastie who's still up. And that is, let's see. So, Artica, did you move? You did not move. Okay. I have some excellent news for you. I have like some information that I'd like to sell you on. I want to know how you feel about taking 10 points of damage. Fire damage specifically.
Terrible, I'm assuming.
You feeling good about this? I cannot believe I just rolled a 7 again. Look at this shit. Look at this shit.
So I just have to take the damage?
Yep. Well, I mean, unless you have a reaction that'll prevent it.
I mean, you basically just have to quote-unquote die again.
Okay, fine. Take 10 points of damage.
Okay.
Mm.
So I have really good news for
Kicking
you.
our ass.
You get that HP back. Kind of.
Fucking A.
You get 1 hit point back. And you are very ill. One might say that you are incapacitated with illness. You have a very high fever, and you begin to hallucinate. And the thing in front of you ceases to be a shadowy creature, and instead, you see your god standing directly in front of you. Just like, it's naked, it's a god. Genitalia? Nope, don't got none of those. It's a god. So you just have this naked winged humanoid standing in front of you with these red, draconic looking wings. And it's just looking at you with an expression of, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Yep.
And as you see this image appear before you, you're not exactly unconscious. So you know when someone's like got a 105, 106 degree fever, they're oftentimes awake, but they're hallucinating so vividly that it's like they're asleep. You start seeing images of your hometown, of your family, of like all the weird, like scholarly stuff that you've been doing in your time. And you're just sick as fuck. But I have some really good news for you all. After giving you that look of incredible disappointment, the figure before you vanishes. And it vanishes for everyone else as well. No one else saw the transformation. But that figure that was appearing in front of Artica just ceases to exist. It just blips out
Have I
of
been
existence.
tested by my god?
All of the
and
things
failed?
all of the things that were attached to its physicality fall to the ground. The arrow clatters to the ground. There was a thing there. All those objects clatter to the ground in front. And I guess we're on to the next one.
Did I fail my god? This is very disappointing. I didn't. Oh my god wanted me to eat him. I'm full crisis mode right now.
Well,
Devastated.
let's see here. So next is going
Can't
to
think straight.
be the little one, which let's see if it can roll better today than it did last round. That is a very light. I like that roll. That was a nat 20. I like nat 20s. So that is going to be 2 of these. I like that.
Oh, the damage.
Uh-huh.
I don't like that.
You know what's
at
funny?
all.
That thing crit, it still hit for less damage. So this thing sort of just like is sort of like walking, and it's smaller, so you can kind of make out more of its movements. And it starts just approaching toward Knob, and just
What am I
lifts
messing
up.
Hello? I had an illusion in place.
What?
That's assuming.
I have an illusion in place.
You do. Would you like me to roll against your deception check? It did not roll less than 11. So, this thing just approaches, just stiff as you please, pulls up. You can see what looks basically like a thing holding up a crossbow. From this angle, you have a much better view because you're viewing it from above, basically, as opposed to like looking straight on at something. It's pretty close. It looks like it's holding up a crossbow, and it shoots Knob for 9 points of damage. Yes, on a crit, I did less damage.
Well, that still insta-gives them
Oh, does it? Oh, that's convenient.
exactly 9 HP.
So you don't need to do anything with your HP. Your HP goes back to normal. And, yeah, you feel substantially more ill than you did just a second ago, though. So, not a great feeling. But yeah, you feel really sick. And, oh, right. And now, the two things that nobody noticed, they get to have their turns. So, from behind the ranged people, rolling a 4 and a 3, a massive, not massive is the wrong word, buff humanoid shadow shows up from behind, and with this massive, incredibly long appendage that seems to come from its other appendages, looking remarkably like a great sword, just slices the air. And Rhea, you like keel over from like your double vision. You're like, take a moment thinking that you're safe and duck right underneath this sword swipe as it comes by you. I rolled a 3. Meanwhile, Ulu, you were sort of in the center, right?
I have no fucking clue.
Yes, I believe that you were where Article was. You're in the same location as Article.
At some point, yes.
All right. Well, you've been using ranged attack, so you wouldn't have to move.
Yeah, I haven't moved that much yet.
So, for you, because you're not at the edges of the battle, something in the distance, just sort of like, almost like a mirror of what just happened. This like lance just comes out of the trees, looking very sharp. This like sharp lance of acid, and just flies out from the trees, disappears, and then smashes into a tree and dissolves a considerable chunk of it. It looks pretty scary. It doesn't look fun. But it doesn't hit anybody because I rolled a 4. And life sucks. So, that's my whole cool surprise round that I had. So Nob, what would you like to do on your turn?
Well, so
Can I roll a perception check?
Absolutely. What do you want to do?
Just for just for what I just perceived.
Sure.
where is my little shadowy buddy in relation to me?
Probably 15 feet away, maybe 10.
Okay.
Not quite melee range, but close enough that you could be in melee range if you wanted.
Are you talking about the illusion I made for you?
No, not that one. That one seems to be useless.
Oh, that disappears, by the way. That's a
Does it only last around?
Well, it's a concentration spell.
Oh.
Actually, you can make a concentration check to see if you manage to concentrate through, like, being basically knocked unconscious.
How do?
It's just do it like a Constitution roll plus
You
proficiency.
get it rolled with disadvantage or something.
Oh no, you don't need to. You don't need to worry about the disadvantage. It's going to be a. Let's see.
She
Here.
rolled at 21.
That's sufficient. So that little fake gnome is still there.
No.
It's still there, doing absolutely nothing. But
It's trucking.
it is trucking.
It's just there.
So, feeling somewhat lost and not super knowing what the fuck is actually going on, and seeing weird shit like people not dying from hits that were supposed to have seemingly killed them, I'm gonna do some weird shit. I'm gonna just run over to it and do a touch identify on it.
Ooh.
I like it. I like it a lot. I like this play. Go for it. Is this your last first level spell?
Yeah.
Roll me an Arcana check to figure out how much information you're going to glean from this.
Fuck.
You're still going to get a decent amount of information from it. It's just if you roll really high, you'll get more from it. You're burning a spell slot up. It's not like, oh, well, you failed to identify it. Let's see here. So identify tells you what information about this thing.
I mean, do we want to be pedantic? This probably isn't very actually feasible to do this.
Why not?
It is a 1-minute cast time.
I think that using identify in
can follow
combat
rules here.
is too much fun to like. That's
Combat identify.
you have to touch it. You're gonna touch something in combat and try to figure out information about it.
I'm an artificer. I want to know what the fuck is going on with it.
If a player wants to do that, I'm not gonna say, oh no, it takes a minute to cast that. No, this is too much fun.
Yeah.
Plus, this isn't a combat spell, so I get all sorts of. It's like, oh great, you're gonna burn resources on something that doesn't kill anything. That's my kind of bag.
Oh wait, I'm supposed to RP this. So I put on my trusty identify goggles and I look through them to see. Oh no, I guess it's an identify glove. I have an identify imbued glove that helps me figure out what things do, and I put that on and touch it with it. There you go. Because I don't actually cast spells.
What does your glove look like?
It's mildly shiny because it has a magical effect on it.
But like what, like is it like a brown like leather or like bluish or
It's just like surgical gloves.
I think it's just a pretty plain looking linen glove otherwise.
okay.
Okay, so if you touch a creature, you can see what spells, if any, are currently affecting this creature. And if the item was created by a spell, you learn what spell created it. If it's an item, but that's not an item. So I would say a 7 doesn't get you a huge amount of extra information outside of what's in this. But I will tell you that this creature is currently afflicted with a strange combination of illusion and enchantment magic that presumably has some sort of it's actually got quite a few nested effects going on here, right? It's got some illusion and enchantment effects that are going on, and it's also got some sort of weird maybe psychic, not exactly magic, but some semi-magical phenomenon going on with it. None of them are explicitly spells, hold monster or charm person or anything like. It's all spell-like abilities of something that are affecting this thing. So this has been influenced in some way by a presumably creature of some sort. But it's a smorgasbord of magical effects that are going on. And
can I tack on a check because I touched the thing? Could I glean some additional information because I touched it?
Oh, from touching the thing? That's an interesting question. I would say when you touch it, you lose sensation in your whatever you're touching it with, I would assume your fingers. Whatever point of contact you have, you completely lose that physical sense. So if you're touching it with your fingers, the point of your finger where it's in contact, you can't feel the finger, right? It's almost like it's numb, but as you pull your hand back, there's no lingering sensation. It's like a void of feeling. That was a good question. So yeah, when you actually touch it, you feel that it's the sensation of touching it that you would expect is just missing. It's absent. So that's... Was that all knob stuff? I guess that means we get to go to the next person. I have all these dice in my hand that I just like... I'm just enjoying playing with these. This is why I need to have dice, so I can play with them. ADHD, me? Rhea, you're up. So you are now in melee range with a person thing that is... It's the size of the creature is not that much larger than you, right? It clearly seems to have some sort of like shadowy greatsword thing that it is like slicing at you with. And
it definitely looks buff as hell.
yeah. Like every piece of them seems a little bit more like broad than you, right? Like add 10% muscle mass, subtract all light from the equation, and there you go.
Okay, could I swap weapons? Or would that be an action? Can I swap weapons, or would that be an action?
You can switch to your melee weapon, that's fine.
I'm taking out both my short swords.
Okay, and just gonna slice it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanna hit.
Go ahead and roll your
So
attacks.
I should be able to do both, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a double attack.
Yeah. Basically, you can take your normal action to attack and your bonus action to attack with your offhand.
Okay, so that's a 19.
Ooh.
And the other one is a 22.
Well, finally, we're doing some damage. Go ahead and roll damage for both of those because those both hit.
Yes, so that's 5 and 3.
So what are you doing with these short swords that you're doing? You're attacking in what way? Are you like slashing at them or stabbing or?
I'm essentially trying to get up close and trying to stab through both. Like at the torso area, like where a heart should be. I'm attempting to stab through the heart. Yeah.
So basically, you're like leaned over. This greatsword just whiffs over your head.
Yeah.
And you like turn over and go, oh shit.
Hand.
2 swords, jab, double, straight in the chest.
Yeah,
okay.
Essentially.
That's pretty cool. It probably doesn't like that. It probably did not enjoy that.
I don't have one. I can't roll away or anything. Reaction. Nope.
You have a movement.
I think that's all.
But if you try to walk away from it, it will get a
Oh yeah, it does have a
attack of opportunity.
As a reaction, right? I'm just gonna not do anything. I guess. Just come out braced, ready for the next attack. I guess.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Artica. Is that accurate?
Okay, let's see. Do I have all my spells again, or am I not allowed to use any spells?
You have used all of your spells. You can still use you can still use cantrips.
There's like 2. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna vicious mockery the damn thing.
Which one?
Which one's most damaged?
The only one that is currently damaged is the one that just got stabbed.
Okay, so I'm gonna attack that one.
Okay. So what are you saying to this big buff shadow?
I'm gonna eat you.
What did you roll for damage? Let me take a look at this. Oh, 3. Okay. Cool beans. I like it. And I need to roll a wisdom save. And it succeeds its wisdom save. So, next, who's next? Next is...
Wait, does it take any damage or what?
It took the 3 damage that you rolled 3 damage.
Now, where's the health bar at?
It's a shadow. You could. I'll let you roll like a. Let's go with Arcana to see if you can figure out how durable this thing is. That's a nat 20. I don't like someone rolling a nat
Give me the
20
help
right now
arc.
on a fucking Arcana.
On an HP check, yeah.
Well, it's not on.
Give it to us.
Because you're trying to identify the nature of this thing.
You're trying to check. Did it get hurt?
You look at this thing, and you can tell that it's been wounded, right? But this figure looks somehow familiar to you in some way that you can't fully understand. And you know that this thing is somehow inextricably bound to Neo's psyche. So as a psychic, you know that this is some sort of psychic manifestation. And you have a suspicion that it is actually internal. This is being projected out into the world. It is not the world trying to come in. And that's what I will give you with a nat 20 Arcana.
Okay. Guys, I think this is all like an illusion. This thing comes from your psyche. Maybe if you change your goals or stop being afraid of the thing you're afraid of, it might turn into a fluffy bunny or some food.
What's a psyche?
I don't think it's as easy as you say.
What's a psyche? I approve. And no comment from the scholar. The scholar's just like, I'm not going to answer.
No
that.
one answers. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm just dumbstruck. I'm going back to retching. I'm still sick.
Ulu, you are up. What would you like to do? I think
Guys,
so, right?
what's a psyche? Just asking.
It comes from your brain.
It comes
I like
from my
panting
brain.
tired.
The shadow comes from my brain.
Yes.
Not yours, the hunters!
Somehow somebody's magic made that thing from maybe your memories or your fears or something.
My
So it
dad was
doesn't come from my
disappointed
brain.
in me.
So it doesn't come from my brain.
Not yours, bird brain, the hunter.
Blur.
I mean, if that one was connected to the hunter, the other one was going after Artica, and now she calls it her god. So that was connected to her. So probably safe to assume that the other two are linked to the other two of us.
Yes.
So one of them comes from
I
my
would
brain.
assume so.
So one of them
Yes,
is
one of them
probably
comes
coming
from-
from your brain.
I got this. Fucking face plants. You know, like forehead first into a tree.
I would like you to roll a Constitution saving throw for me with advantage.
Alright. Because you're saving throw a what?
With
What's the other thing you
advantage.
said? Oh, with advantage. Okay. God, why is it so slow? 2. My rolls are really good today, like extremely good.
Beautiful rolls.
I got a 7.
You are unable to bring yourself to cause harm to yourself. You cannot inflict this damage upon yourself.
Interesting. Does it hurt?
You can't do it. You can't hit yourself in the head with the tree.
For some reason,
You
I
just
just can't do it.
it's like you try to do it and you just it's like, you know how if your arm is numb, like you slept on it wrong or something, your arm is totally numb. It's just like
Yeah,
dead
you can't
meat. You can't
seem to use
control it. It's like completely out of your control. It's a similar experience, only without the numbness, where it's just like it's like, you know, the robots in that show that go, you know, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like, you just can't hit your head against a tree. Like, there's some self-preservation instinct in you that is saying, hell the fuck no. I'm not going to do that.
Anyway, I do feel a bit sickly, don't I?
You're feeling a bit sick. A bit sick. You're not feeling great.
How far is the one that shot at?
The one that shot at you? I'd say it's probably still about like 15, 20 feet away. It's like approaching toward you, but not like a lot. Since you were unable to take that action, I'm not going to consider that to have been an action that you have taken if you want to take an action to attack something or something like that.
I'm gonna try and run over and strike it with my talons.
Your or another?
Mine.
Okay. That's a bonus action, right? I believe I gave that to you as a bonus action to make up for the fact that you couldn't fly.
Yes.
So you can now, so you can use that and another attack if you want.
Okay. Can I just use that twice?
Yeah.
All right.
You have two talons. Why not?
And I'll start swiping.
You're like just jumping up in the air and doing like bicycle kick, like.
Exactly.
I love it.
Like birds do.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack rolls.
Oh my god.
Let's see. And also give me an insight check.
Okay. One thing at a time, boss.
You can't queue up multiple rolls and they'll just like take their time. No.
So that's 16. 16 hits.
Yeah, I don't think a 7 does.
7 does not hit. So go ahead and roll damage for the first talons, and give me an insight check for me.
Six damage and insight.
It's pretty damn
Oh
good.
wow, you actually did max damage there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. So we have
9 insight.
You intended to do that the whole time. You never had any contemplation of self-harm. Wouldn't have occurred to you. Wouldn't have occurred to you. Okay, so... And I'm telling you that as, like, a character, not as a player.
Yeah, yeah.
Like... Yeah. So... let's see here. As far as your character is concerned, they never had any interpretation that they were going to do that. Let's see here. Next on our agenda is... Oh! They all get to go. Well, not all of them, because one of them is now MIA. What colors does everyone want for your things that are attacking you? For dice.
You have a purple?
I have a purple. I have 2, actually.
Yellow or red. Fiery. Mine looks fiery.
You don't get one.
Yours is
No.
vanished.
Yours is gone. I'll give the shiny purple to Rhea.
I'll take yellow or green.
I'll take the shiny yellow or the shiny green. I think the shiny yellow is more shiny. And Pete?
I will take black.
Actually, that's the color I've been using from the start. Where did you go? That was the color that I started using for you at the beginning. I don't know where I put that die. Where did you go? I don't know where your die went. I'll find it in a second. Ooh, okay. So...
It died.
Let's see here. Give me a second to find... Misha, can you tell me what your character's AC is? What is Ulu's AC?
10.
Okay, well that's going to be unfortunate for you. I'm going to use blue for people. Oh, okay then. Don't need to ask your AC. Is your AC less than 20 something? Okay, so all 3 hit. That's convenient. And one of them... Hi, Rhea. One of them got a nat 20. So that's really fun and exciting for me. So I'm going to go ahead and take 2 of these things. Fortunately, I don't have 2 purples of this type. Wait, is this... Oh, this is a different type. Okay, that's fine.
You don't have to use both.
I really didn't necessarily have to. How much HP do you have?
10.
You're hit for like 15 damage. So you're just flat. This like entity in front of you, as you like got your daggers in its body, completely unreactive, takes this 2-handed sword, twists it around, and just fucking impales you with it. Which you would expect to just fucking kill you. Because that's practically enough damage to just kill you outright. Funny thing, though, you don't actually feel it penetrate your body in the classic sense. You can feel something happening. And you're kind of leaned over with your daggers in. And you just start puking your brains out. And as you look up at the thing that just impaled you, could you give me a physical description as you fully see who did this to you, of who this person is and what they look like for me?
Well, I didn't go this far, but they are really big with pixie cut hair. She has great large muscles on her arms, very well defined, and she has a kind of a grizzled, severe look. Looks very disappointed down at me, and she looks like she could eat you for breakfast, is what I'm saying.
And might, in this case.
Yeah, and she has like scarring along her arms and tattoos of different creatures that she has killed, all down her really buff arms.
I might have had an ulterior motive for having you all create these NPCs.
Okay. We did not know. That was not.
So as you catch this last glimpse of this person, they vanish. And the sword vanishes. And you are on the ground, puking your guts out with 1 hit point.
Oh, alright.
Oh, I need to resolve the other damage that goes out, don't I? Okay. So, this... I'll resolve the little one first, because the little one is easier to resolve. Because I've already described what that one looks like. So this sort of like little, gnome-sized thing is going to... Where are my stat blocks? This little sort of like gnome thing just kind of like approaches... Pete, you didn't move, did you? Did not move? You're muted.
I identify touch the damn thing. So
You are... Yeah, okay. So you're... I forgot. Sorry. I have ADHD, man. I'm bad at this. So, you have reached out, touched this thing. You have gotten some sense that this is some sort of enchanted creature of some sort with tons of magic shit running throughout the whole thing. And it just kind of looks... It kind of like cocks its head almost like curiously. Like it's kind of like trying to figure out what the fuck you're doing. And then one of its arms comes out with a sharp pointy bit at the end and deals 8 damage to you as you are stabbed with a shadowy dagger.
So it leaves me at 1 HP.
Ooh. Well, that's good for you. 1 is better than 0. And then the other one, which, let's see here. The other shape is hard to describe. It vaguely looks humanoid, but only in the most vague sense. It has too many limbs all together, and it's the other things look like they are the representation of a specific creature, if that makes sense. Like if you took a creature and there was a void that just prevented you from seeing that creature, right? Like the inverse of a thing. The dimensions on this thing that is approaching toward Ulu seem to fluctuate. It is not clear what the actual fuck this is supposed... Like, it kind of looks like it's bipedal sometimes, and sometimes it looks like it's quadrupedal. It's not really clear what this thing is, as the shape sort of like half rolls and half walks toward Ulu, and one of its many limbs comes out, and then another of its many limbs come out. And it's like, what limbs are these? Who the fuck even knows? What we do know is that they dealt damage, because I already rolled for the attack roll earlier, and I rolled an 8. So that's 11 points of damage to Ulu. How much HP do you have?
Negative a gazillion.
Negative a gazillion? Perfect. You look up at this radiant divinity that appears before you. Your vision is no longer clouded by this dark morass, and you see it for what it truly is, which is the most beautiful thing that you have ever seen, with potentially one exception. This thing is even more beautiful than you. And you see it, and its expression is unknowable. But you can tell that it is a thing of beauty, and it is almost a privilege to have been stabbed by it. And then it vanishes, leaving only your memories of the time that you spent together. And you've collapsed to the ground, feverish, hallucinating the fuck out of everything. It's a bad time. But you had a really great encounter before that. So your mind, and also Rhea, this has also happened to you. This has also happened to Artica. All y'all are basically just on the ground in a hallucinatory mess, right? Like, you can kind of interact with the world around you, but it's like you're losing track of when is now and when is the past and when is the future. And like, you know, you're having flashbacks to things that haven't happened yet. It's fucked. Nob. Oh, and this thing also disappears. So, Nob, there's only one combatant left on the field. What would you like to do?
I go run up to it and hug it.
Okay. So it kind of just stabbed you. Are you just gonna, like, dig into the dagger that's in your body already and just sort of hug it full on? Or are you gonna, like, get unpierced first? Like, what do you think in terms of?
Is it a like a like a more of like a grapple hug, or is it like
Like
as
it
gentle
stabbed
as
me
it
and the
can be?
dagger's still there, or it was like a stab and retract?
Well, I'm letting you determine, like, whether you are going in for the hug while it's still in you, or whether you're waiting until, you know what I mean?
I'm doing more of a pacifist hug. It's not like an offensive hug.
Okay.
It's more like,
A tender hug.
yeah.
Okay. So, as you
Are you embracing your shadow self?
embrace this thing before you,
Assuming the sensation in all parts of my body.
I
pretty
would
much
I would
goes
like you
away.
to make a Constitution saving throw with advantage, please.
Against what?
I will keep the DC to myself.
No. Against what type of effect?
What do you have advantage on?
That's a good question. It is not an effect that you have advantage on, I don't believe. Give me a second.
Like, if it is a magical effect, I need to know.
Let's see. Give me a second to look at your features. Don't you only have advantage on wisdom, charisma, and intelligence?
I guess are these like related? No.
Are you looking at gnomish cunning?
Yeah.
This is a Constitution save.
Okay.
You have like advantage on. Wait, actually, it wouldn't matter because you already have advantage. Advantage doesn't stack, unfortunately. So, yes, you have advantage on this regardless.
Wow.
What did you roll?
Well, 9 and 2, so it's still 12.
Okay. As you hug this thing, so unfortunately, I didn't get a description of an NPC from you. I never got that,
Yes.
I don't think.
You have not asked me this.
I would like for you to tell me, would you like this to be an NPC or would you like it to be you?
I was wondering about that actually, as this was happening. Let's go with it being me.
Okay. So as you go to hug this thing, and that's kind of what I was implying. That's why I was looking at your character sheet to determine its abilities. As you go to hug this thing, its arms come around you, and the dagger is gone. And as you sort of hug this thing, it fully appears in your vision, and you are hugging yourself. Not in the sense that you're doing this, but in the sense that there is another you. I am thou, thou art I. All that jazz.
And that's exactly where I was going with that.
Yeah. And this thing returns the embrace, at which point you promptly begin vomiting your guts out over its shoulder, which ceases to exist. And now the four of you are out of initiative, as all enemy combatants have disappeared before your very eyes, and you are now all puking your guts out on the forest floor with 1 hit point each.
Oh lord.
Funnily enough, one of you has 1 hit point just because that happened to be the HP value that you had.
Yeah, I mean, as far as people go, I only fake died once. No, I mean, I only fake died once. Did I even fake die even once?
I don't think
No, I
you
don't
did.
think I faked.
No, you didn't. You're the only one who didn't.
You're the only one who
Yeah,
did not
yeah,
actually go down.
Yeah. Go down below.
Yeah.
I
Just went down to 1
we
HP.
all did.
I had a bunch of secret rolls that were going on over here. So, that were determining the pace of what happened in that battle. That didn't quite go the way that I anticipated it would go, but it works fine. So, you are all now kind of like in a semi-hallucinogenic state. It's almost 2 o'clock, so now might be the best time for us
Yeah,
to end the session.
I
It's
think
just
so.
just as we are getting out of this combat scenario into Thinger. So
I got
why not
one-
a long rest?
Yep. I don't think you can do much but a long rest.
Yeah, everyone used all their spell slots too, except maybe not Ulu.
I
I don't know.
did.
If
I
Ulu
think
did.
I only have one.
Okay, so everyone used all their spell slots too. This is great. See, perfectly balanced combat. No problem. Y'all were fine. No
All
problem
right,
whatsoever.
long rest.
Yeah, so y'all
Yeah,
can
long rest.
y'all can take a long rest, and I will describe what happens when you awake in the next episode.
Cool.